I wanted to say something about Raven in this video.
Bear Brown has finally broken his silence. But nobody expected this. From longtime fans to harsh critics, what he just revealed is already tearing the Alaskan Bush People fan base in half. Some say he's brave for speaking the truth. Others say he's done more damage than ever before. So what did Bear really say? And why is it sparking chaos online? When Bear Brown, one of the most recognizable faces from Discovery's long-running reality series Alaskan Bush People, stepped in front of a camera earlier this year to break his silence, he did more than answer rumors. In a few measured minutes on social media, he pushed back against cancellation chatter, apologized for a poorly judged prank, teased new creative plans, and, in the process, lit a fuse beneath a fan base already split by years of family drama and controversy. The result? Many followers felt reassured, others felt betrayed, and a once-united audience now finds itself sharply divided. The context matters. For more than a decade, the Brown family's on-screen lives, from off-grid survival to public spats and private tragedies, have been the kind of reality TV roller coaster that creates loyal followers and fierce critics in equal measure. Rumors that the show had been quietly canceled circulated widely earlier this year after trade outlets reported production delays and legal headlines connected to the family's business affairs. Bear, who remains one of the family's most outspoken and media-savvy members, took to Instagram to directly confront that narrative. He told fans the show was not canceled, but rather on hiatus, and he blamed corporate reshuffling at the network level for the pause. For many fans, the message was a relief. The Brown story, Bear insisted, had not ended. That clarification, simple on its face, was the first wedge. To a portion of the audience, Bear's explanation felt like a necessary correction to sloppy reporting and renewed hope that Browntown might return to television. For others, though, it read as damage control, a familiar public relations move from a family that has frequently been accused of staging situations and obscuring the truth for the cameras. Those accusations have long simmered under the surface of fandom and gossip sites, and when Bear insisted the show was not faked, but rather followed my family, he performed the paradox at the heart of the Brown phenomenon, authenticity as a contested commodity. Then came the apology. In a separate post, Bear acknowledged the fallout from an extreme April Fool's prank, a video that simulated a serious injury and alarmed many viewers. He apologized, saying the stunt had gone too far and that he understood why people were concerned. The apology was sober in tone, but it also reopened old wounds. Critics of the Browns pointed to the prank as more evidence that stunts and sensationalism occasionally trumped good judgment. Defenders accepted the apology and urged supporters to move on. The split in reactions showcased a repeating pattern in the fandom. Two sets of viewers live almost in parallel, one willing to forgive and the other quick to condemn. Complicating matters further was Bear's personal life. In public updates over the same period, he and his wife Raven announced they would be separating and moving forward as co-parents, a revelation that prompted an immediate groundswell of sympathy from some corners of the audience, and speculation from others about how off-screen family tensions might affect any future projects. Fans who want to see the Browns return to Alaska under the Next Generation banner cheered Bear's continued focus on family and the kids. Detractors asked whether ongoing interpersonal fractures made a return to reality television untenable. Either way, the announcement injected another layer of emotion into an already fraught public conversation. Perhaps the most polarizing moment came when Bear hinted at a future beyond Discovery, a next-generation project, he teased, seemingly independent and, in some cases, self-produced, aimed at chronicling the Brown children and the family's next chapter. For many longtime fans, the idea of Bear taking control of the narrative, producing and packaging the family story on his own terms, sounded promising, a way to preserve the show's spirit while avoiding network politics. For skeptics, it smacked of reinvention and a commercial gambit to monetize the family brand without the accountability of a traditional network structure. The line between entrepreneurial reinvention and opportunistic branding is thin, and Bear's announcement sharpened that divide. So why has one relatively short set of social posts created such intense cleavages? The answer is both simple and structural. Reality television thrives on intimacy. Viewers bond with people they feel they know. When those people change, through legal troubles, personal scandal, or creative pivoting, fans are forced to recalibrate their emotional investments. With the Browns, that recalibration happens against decades of behind-the-scenes allegations, family fractures, and shifting loyalties. Bear's straight talk is a test. Will the audience trust the storyteller, or has the storyteller's credibility already been spent? Inside the fandom, responses looked like a sociological case study. One cluster of supporters hailed Bear as honest and straightforward, calling him a family man trying to protect his kids and preserve what's left of the Brown legacy. They saw his clarification about the show's status as responsible, his apology as sincere, and his independent creative plans as a brave step forward in a fragmented media landscape. Another cluster, however, remained suspicious. They highlighted a history of PR-savvy moves and questioned whether a family return without a traditional network is a transparent enterprise or a rebranding designed to cash in on nostalgia. The split is less about Bear the man and more about how different viewers interpret authenticity, motive, and accountability in modern celebrity culture. Industry insiders noted a third dynamic: the marketplace. Networks and streaming platforms constantly reassess which reality properties are worth keeping, and the Browns' name retain value even amid controversy. Discovery's merger-related delays provided a factual basis for Bear's hiatus claim, but they also created a window for alternative models of distribution. If Bear and other family members choose to self-produce or partner with digital platforms, they could control both content and monetization, a tempting prospect for creators with an established audience. That potential shift is exciting to some fans and threatening to others who fear less editorial oversight will mean more sensationalism. For critics, the real test is whether Bear's public statements will be followed by consistent behavior. Apologies and clarifications occupy a short shelf life, unless paired with demonstrable change. Fewer stunts that risk harm or alarm, transparent communication about projects, and a commitment to responsible storytelling, especially when children are involved. Advocates for the children's privacy have been particularly vocal, arguing that the next generation concept must prioritize safety over spectacle. Supporters counter that the Browns have always been storytellers first, and that Bear's stewardship could offer a more grounded, family-focused perspective. The tug-of-war is ongoing. Outside observers have also pointed to a broader cultural pattern. Audiences are increasingly reflexive and segmented. Social platforms create echo chambers where positive and negative narratives amplify separately. When a celebrity like Bear addresses a rumor, whether about cancellation, staging, or family turmoil, each faction filters the statement through pre-existing beliefs. The effect is that the same message can both reassure and inflame, depending on which corner of the internet you occupy. That dynamic helps explain why Bear's posts simultaneously calmed some and outraged others. So what might happen next? There are at least 3 plausible scenarios. First, Bear's clarifications and apologies could mollify enough of the fanbase that when or if the Browns return to screens, a large portion of viewers will tune in, attracted by nostalgia and curiosity. Second, the controversies could persist, especially if more stunts or headlines follow, driving a durable rift in the fandom and depressing viewership. Third, a hybrid outcome could emerge. A smaller but intensely loyal core audience supports Bear's next moves, while a vocal contingent remains publicly critical, a common pattern in the post-fandom era. Industry watchers say the Browns still possess a powerful brand. How they use it will determine whether they heal the split or deepen it. For Bear himself, the stakes are personal as well as professional. He repeatedly frames his decisions around family and legacy, and the next generation idea is as much about his children's future as it is about television ratings. Whether viewers interpret that as genuine paternal instinct or strategic rebranding will shape not only the success of any future project, but also how Bear is remembered in the messy historiography of reality television. Fans who feel seen and protected by his honesty will rally. Those who suspect performance will not. Either way, Bear's recent posts made it clear that neutrality is no longer an option for many followers. People are choosing sides. Journalists and pundits who cover reality TV stress one last point. The Brown family's story has always been about contradictions. The show's appeal came from watching rustic survival blended with modern family drama. Its controversy came from questions of staging, legal disputes, and personal missteps. Bear's moment of breaking his silence collapses those tensions into a single social media post, and the fanbase's fractured reaction is predictable in that light. Fans who want a simple narrative, either pure heroism or pure opportunity, will continue to be disappointed. The Browns live in the complicated middle. Ultimately, Bear Brown's attempt to speak plainly about his family's trajectory did exactly what good communication often does in polarized times. It clarified facts, but it exposed values. He corrected rumors about the show's status, apologized for a misstep, teased new projects, and shared personal developments. Each of those moves satisfied some followers and provoked others. The divide in the fan base is less a failure of messaging than a reflection of how differently people experience celebrity, authenticity, and accountability in the streaming age. The Browns will likely be in this position for some time, a compelling, messy show, part family epic, part PR exercise, whose future depends on whether the family can rebuild trust without losing the drama that made them famous. For readers who follow the saga, the immediate takeaway is simple. Bear Brown's silence is over, but the argument is not. Fans will parse every update, defendants will defend, detractors will dissect, and the Browns, like many modern reality families, will continue to navigate the narrow path between public life and private pain. Whether that path leads back to discovery, to a self-produced next generation, or to a quieter family life off-camera, one thing is certain. When Bear speaks, an audience listens, and increasingly, it chooses a side. If Bear Brown hoped his message would calm the storm, the opposite happened. Within hours of his posts, the comment sections under his Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube updates looked like a digital battlefield. Longtime fans who once rallied together in support of the Brown family were suddenly split into two loud, distinctly different camps. On one side were the loyalists, followers who believed Bear had been unfairly targeted by gossip sites, unfair headlines, and a wave of negativity that had stalked the family since the death of patriarch Billy Brown. They argued that Bear's decision to speak publicly showed courage, accountability, and maturity. They praised him for addressing rumors directly, owning his mistakes, and voicing a plan for the future. The other side, however, was relentless. Skeptics questioned everything. Why he apologized only after backlash. Why he denied rumors only after fans started assuming the worst. Why the family always seemed to be planning something rather than simply living quietly. Some even suggested that Bear's sudden openness was timed perfectly to rebuild public goodwill before dropping a new project, merchandise, or monetized channel. What shocked most observers wasn't just the disagreement, it was how personal the conflict became. These weren't casual viewers. These were superfans, people who had watched the Browns grow, struggle, marry, separate, and survive. Yet suddenly they were calling each other liars, enablers, trolls, and fake fans. Even moderators of the show's largest fan groups began shutting down threads, reporting harassment, and deleting entire comment chains. The hostility was unlike anything the Alaskan Bush people community had seen in years. Behind closed doors, are the Browns themselves divided? Bear's statement didn't just divide fans, it raised new questions about what's happening inside the family itself. Some followers noticed that certain siblings stayed silent. No public support posts, no shared announcements, no comments. Even social media activity suggested distance, unfollowing, deleted pictures, cryptic messages, and a noticeable lack of united family content. It wasn't lost on fans that in the past, when tension was high, family members quietly drifted into separate camps. After Billy Brown's passing, each sibling seemed to process grief differently. Noah focused on his own projects, Gabe stayed off social media, Matt built a life away from the spotlight, and Snowbird battled major health issues without cameras rolling. So when Bear started talking about a next-generation project, viewers wondered, will the rest of the family be part of it, or is this Bear's project alone? No official answer has been given. Is Discovery really done? Insiders say maybe not. Although Bear insists the show isn't canceled, the TV industry has changed dramatically. Streaming platforms have more power than ever. Budgets are tighter. Executives choose series based on return, not loyalty. And with the Browns' history of legal troubles, arrests, divorces, and family scandals, some insiders believe the network may be hesitant to reboot a franchise that attracts controversy as often as it attracts viewers. On the other hand, Discovery knows one thing: the Browns are ratings gold. Every major family crisis, the wildfire, Amy's cancer battle, Matt's rehab, Bear and Raven's relationship drama, brought huge spikes in viewership. To business-minded executives, controversy isn't a problem, it's profit. So while Bear may be telling the truth about a hiatus, the bigger question is Discovery waiting for the right moment, or waiting for the Browns to clean up their image? The apology that left fans questioning his next move. When Bear acknowledged his April Fool's stunt and apologized to fans who were upset, some viewers praised the honesty. Others noticed something small but important. He never promised it wouldn't happen again. He said he should have handled it differently, but didn't commit to changing the type of content he makes. Critics argue that leaves the door open for more shock factor videos, especially now that his personal platforms have become his main source of visibility. Supporters push back. Bear has always been dramatic, creative, and theatrical. That's why they love him. They don't watch him to be normal, they watch him to be Bear. And that brings the fan base right back to where it started. Two sides watching the same man and seeing two completely different people. The silence from Raven, loud without saying a word. One of the most uncomfortable parts of this story is what Bear did not talk about: his separation from Raven. While Bear briefly mentioned focusing on co-parenting, he did not address the deeper questions fans are asking. Are they divorcing? Will the kids be on camera? Will Raven appear in the Next Generation project? Are there legal restrictions preventing him from talking? Raven has remained mostly silent, and silence always creates theories. Some fans believe she's keeping things private for the children. Others believe she's distancing herself before the next PR storm hits. Either way, Bear's public comeback feels incomplete without a fuller picture of his home life, and fans know it. Why this moment matters so much. Bear didn't just respond to rumors. He didn't just apologize for a prank. He didn't just tease new content. He reopened the entire question that has hovered over the Browns for years. Are they a real family with real struggles, or a business built on drama? Some fans believe authenticity is the core of Alaskan Bush people. Others believe the show is just another reality product, something filmed, edited, staged, and polished for ratings. Bear's attempt to reassure the audience only magnified those opposing beliefs. Where supporters saw honesty, critics saw strategy. Where supporters saw redemption, critics saw manipulation. Where supporters saw a father trying to rebuild his life, critics saw a brand trying to survive. And now, for the first time in a long time, the fanbase feels permanently divided. While Bear Brown has been outspoken, one detail continues to fuel speculation. Almost none of his siblings have publicly reacted. For years, the Brown children presented themselves as a united front, whether they were dealing with the death of their father, the family's legal battles, or the show's production challenges. So when Bear went public with clarifications, apologies, and hints about a future project, fans expected at least one sibling to echo or acknowledge his message. It didn't happen. Noah remained busy posting his own independent projects, Bam stayed silent, Gabe avoided social media altogether, Snowbird, recovering from major surgeries, did not comment. And then there's Matt Brown, living a separate life away from the show, away from Discovery, and away from the Alaska brand entirely. His relationship with the family has been strained for years, and the fact that Bear's message avoided Matt completely made fans wonder whether a true Brown reunion is realistic or impossible. Why does their silence matter? Because it leaves countless questions unanswered. If the Browns return, will all siblings participate? Will Bear lead the project alone? Is the family even on speaking terms behind the scenes? Fan theories exploded. Some believe the siblings are in private negotiations and simply cannot comment due to contracts. Others believe the family is fractured beyond repair, and Bear's project is his attempt to move forward without them. Without official confirmation, every theory looks believable. The Browns have always gone silent online right before a season reveal, and lately, several members have gone very quiet. Is that coincidence or contract? Some media analysts think Discovery might be testing the waters, watching fan reactions to Bear's apology, gauging interest, and analyzing whether a comeback season would be a hit or a liability. Reality franchises have returned from worse. The Kardashians, Honey Boo Boo, Jersey Shore, and dozens of others have survived scandal and come back to bigger audiences. In the streaming era, controversy sells, and the Browns have plenty of it. The wild card that could change everything. If Discovery decides not to continue the show, that doesn't mean the end. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, and even YouTube-based production companies have snapped up reality IPs left behind by traditional networks. A family with an established brand, a loyal fan base, and built-in drama is a valuable product. While fans clash online, there is a quieter, more painful layer. Bear is a father of young children, trying to balance fame, criticism, co-parenting, and personal loss. No matter how viewers feel about him as a TV personality, his real life is complicated. Public backlash, a failing marriage, raising children under a microscope. The Browns didn't just lose a patriarch, they lost the emotional anchor who balanced personalities that were often volatile, unpredictable, and fiercely independent. Without Billy, the family structure changed. For some, Bear stepping into a leadership role is admirable. For others, he is not the one they trust with the legacy, and that disagreement sits at the heart of the fan battle. The one question that could decide everything. As the controversy grows, one question keeps surfacing among fans, media analysts, and industry insiders. Do viewers want the Browns back, or are they ready to move on? Reality TV families rarely fade quietly. They either collapse publicly or reinvent themselves. If Bear's message was the beginning of a reinvention, then he has already succeeded in one way. Everyone is talking about him again. Supporters, critics, media outlets, YouTube creators, and online fan hubs are all watching, waiting, refreshing, and arguing.